everybody. Welcome to MOONCAST. This is gonna be the last MOONCAST for a while because I am taking a break, and I hope that we will have fun in this last broadcast for a while. Don't worry, not like just stop streaming forever. It's just like we're taking a break because I've been having MOONCAST for the last like 5 years, something like that, and I never take a break before, and this is the time when like I think I need some rest, and I will be back, with better and higher quality and better, like preparation, more fun or something like that. But anyway, that's it, and there are a lot of things that I want to talk to you today in this podcast. And if you have any questions, just ask me. The first thing that I want to talk about is hi Kai. Hi. All right. This is hi. Vietnam is officially visiting Brazil, and it's pretty cool. A super chat from Antonio Oliver. Back in the States now, see you again, Vietnam. Oh, you're back in the States already. Antonio just had a wedding in Vietnam, and they both back to US, I guess. Okay, have fun. I hope that you had fun in Vietnam, and hope you will be back soon. Back to the topic that I just. By the way, congratulations, Antonio. Vietnam is officially visiting Brazil, and let me show the picture real quick. So many. All right. This one, right? All right. So this is the right one. There's so many links. Well, give me a second. Oh. No. Stop screen. This is like the first visit in 16 years. After 16 years, Vietnam officially visit Brazil again, and this is a picture of Vietnam's Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and Lula da Silva. It's pretty awesome. And in this, in this official visit of like 3 days, I think, 4 days. Yeah, about 4 days. Pretty long, like, official visit that Vietnam did with any other country. And in this official visit, Vietnam and Brazil signed 4 different agreements with each other, including, the agreement about the exchange education. So yeah, it's just amazing. We're going to exchange students, and universities will start working together to send students to going back and forth between the 2 different countries. The next is about the defense, defense agreement, like the 2 countries will have each other with a bunch of defense kind of technology. The third one is about agriculture, because we know that both Vietnam and Brazil are really good at farming, and both countries have a lot of kind of same kind of material condition, natural conditions, such as like rainforest and the jungle and the delta, and then we both grow rice and coffee, something like that, and we grow more beans in Brazil than us, and we grow like black pepper here. So both countries try to work more closely with each other about agricultural kind of field. And the last one is more about the 2 foreign policy, the 2 Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the 2 countries will work closely together to tie, to have more ties between the country like that. So it's really amazing. Music is still playing. DJ, you had one job, DJ. I wanna turn down the music. Sorry, folks. Yeah, it's still going. And all right, here we go. Cornelius, you're not late. We just started for 3 minutes or something like that. Haha. All right, so Thank you, Derek. I just realized that just like 2 seconds before I saw a super chat. Thank you for your super chat. All right. Anyway, so it's really great. I mean, it's really great to see finally Vietnam and Brazil tightening our relationship, between the two countries. And this is like again just like after 16 years, it's a long break. This is a long break of our relationship. Vietnam and Brazil will celebrate 35 years anniversary in our official relationship. So means that it started in like the 2000 the 1990 1990 11 đúng không? 1989? Oh, 1989 we officially had our, relationship together with the two countries. And in the last 16 years means that from 2007, yeah, from 2007 we stopped visiting each other. And of absolutely when Lula took power, the round 2016 or something, of course there was no, like official relations, like or meeting or visits at all whatsoever during the whole entire Lula. But it's kind of funny and kind of happy, like right after. Oh, Bolsonaro in 2016 when Bolsonaro took power. I'm sorry, my brain is so fuzzy right now. Before that, before Lula took power, it was Bolsonaro time. I Vietnam and Brazil did not have any, thing to do with each other at all whatsoever. But the moment that, Bolsonaro lost and Lula became the president, we immediately had a 4 days long official visit, which is pretty amazing, and immediately signed a bunch of agreements with each other. So it's pretty awesome, pretty amazing, and hope that Vietnam and Brazil will get closer with each other. And the both countries share the same history of being colonized and terribly sabotaged by the West, especially the USA. Both countries, share a lot of the same kind of material conditions. As I said, we both have a rainforest and a lot of like coastline and a bunch of like that, and strong in agriculture. So, and especially in the new era, this new era of climate change, and the West is like losing its power, and it's harder and harder for food security. It's very important for Vietnam and Brazil get together and try to help each other during this hard time, because we can, send you rice and you can send us the rest like beans or coffee and a bunch of other stuff that you grow too. Like your Brazil is a superpower in agriculture, so it's really great to see the two countries getting closer to each other like that. Ayo, wait. The hi, greeting from Brazil. Hi, greeting from Vietnam. Let's just talk about the official visit that Vietnam is having in Brazil, and I do hope that Lula will visit Vietnam soon. I do think that after this 4 day official visit of Vietnam to Brazil, Lula will visit Vietnam very, very, very soon or something like that. I mean, it's really amazing. Um, all right, the next is I want to talk about before this is like warming up section. So basically, next one is gonna be about what else? I have so many things to talk to you today. All right. Oh, talking about I want to talk about this. So kind of good news. Do you remember that? Oh, kind of last year or something like that. And many times before I talk about how Vietnam spending a lot of money and effort on building cheap houses for workers, people with low income. And here we go. This is my update report, my update on that policy of us to prove to you that we not just talk about it, we're actually doing it, and it's almost finished already. So in 2016, we had an official national program, and it will last from 2016, 2025, which is 10 years. And in this national program, we would say that we would build at least like a million houses for low income people all over the country. And it is the report from Bình Dương. Bình Dương province is one of really big industry kind of province in the south of Vietnam that is kind of close next to Ho Chi Minh City. And it has a lot of industrial zones, so therefore there are a lot of workers over there. And Bình Dương, just officially announced that they will spend 92,000 billion VND. It's, I don't know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of millions of dollars. It's a lot. I can't, my brain, it's too many zeros that my brain just cannot. It's 9, 12, it's 16 different kind of zeros. So 12, 15 zero, can't. But it's a lot of money. And they are building, they've been building it from 2021 to 2030. And they said that the plan is that it is by like they said like by their calculation by 2030 it's gonna be about 130,000 people in Bình Dương that will need a house. That's based on the development of the area. And that is why they plan on building 173,000 apartments. So see, we plan to build 43,000 more to make sure that, yeah, if they calculate wrong or something, there's always going to be more than we actually need. So, and it could, because of a house can have many people can live in that. So it actually could, give a place to stay for, there's a lot of people, 678,000 people right here. And the total money is this, many millions dollars. I can't tell you. But anyway, in the next 3 years, they will build 4,000 social housing like that. And this is the picture of, one of the, design of that area will build like this. It's like near the industrial zone. So all the workers will stay here and go to their factory like real quick. And to tell you this, I was lucky that I've been in one of these, we call it social housing. I've been inside one of these houses and it's pretty awesome actually. And of course there are ways that we try to protect the social housing to make sure that it will not be hoarded by capitalists. Like, that, like if we don't have a strict policy about this, all the capitalists just use their money and power to buy a bunch of them and sell it to other people with a way higher price. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And Bình Dương is not alone. There are many more provinces that are doing the same thing too, such as like Thủ Đức City is also, spending like a lot of money building social housing like this. A lot. Here, let me show you to prove to you. And we focus a lot on actually the south of Vietnam because there's a lot of factories in south of Vietnam. And a lot of workers going to the south to work and make a living. That is why I focus more on the south for now. But this is one of the projects they're working on. They will build about over 1,000 apartments in Thủ Đức City. Thủ Đức City is a city within the Ho Chi Minh City. So it's like a Vatican in Italy or something like that. It's like a city inside a city. So it's like extremely dense. And the land there is extremely like expansive, like golden land or something like that. And the land has been hoarded a lot by, a bunch of real estate evil capitalists. But the government still managed to have social housing in that super dense and expensive kind of area. So it's pretty freaking amazing, I gotta say. Imagine like the USA will build something like in Washington D.C. There's a district in there is extremely like in the standard and like Manhattan or something like that. I could be wrong, but like near the national park. And then the government build actual social housing for low income people right there in New York or Washington D.C. like that. It's really amazing. And yeah, they're building it over 1,000 houses being built right now. And 2000 until 2025 there will be at least 6,000 apartments for low income people right here. So I mean, really good news, really good news. And this is the chairman of the People's Committee of Thủ Đức City in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. She's just like a normal lady. She was voted by the people there, and she got to those projects and check. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's one of these housing lab. Back to the story that I was about to tell you before. I was lucky to be inside one of the social housing, and the quality is really decent. Like, it was really freaking good. And like, of course it's not like penthouse, no way, but like it's like built by concrete, and each of the room will have like very decent kind of space, depends on the size of how many family members in that family. And usually it's good for a family of three or four is good. Five is a little bit too much. They have buy a bigger house. But anyway, there are many options for like just a couple or three people or four or even five people in a building like that. But like really decent quality. And inside of each of the building like that, there is a union mart, which is pretty awesome. It is a mart run by just the union workers. And they're run by cooperatives like that too, and they have an extremely affordable price for the workers living in there, and everything is pretty decent like that. And also, another thing that is very important too, because like a lot of people would, you might raise a concern about like, okay, because it's social housing for low income people, so it means that the price is going to be very cheap. It's only usually like a half of the price, or the most is two-thirds of the price of the actual normal market price of an apartment, which is really freaking awesome. But like, how can we protect that social housing from the evil hands of those capitalists? What we do is this: the first owners of those social housing houses, they must have something to prove that they are actually workers. They're not like just like some rich capitalists out there. And by doing that, we means that like we have to you show them the labor contract. And also each of the workers in Vietnam will have their own small handbook of, we call it like social insurance book. I have one. I am having one. We call it a social insurance book. It's just like a government issue kind of book that each of the workers will own, would show exactly, like fill in by the government, like, okay, for from this time to this time, this person work in this company and pay this much of insurance, and from that to that they move to different company, or they are working there or not, they're paying or not. So it shows all the basic information about the work life. So just bring those, proof evidence to the actual building kind of project owner, usually run by the government, and then they will allow you to buy an apartment there with the 50 to 75% of the normal market price. And the workers can have a special loans, absolutely low interest, many times it's even zero interest for the first 5 years, something like that, depends on different loans that they choose. And also the thing that we really do is that after that worker own that apartment, they cannot sell that apartment for 5 years at least. So it means that like within the 5 years, the government will not issue them the red book. It's like the house book, the pink book. It is the book to prove that you own this actually space. In Vietnam, it's like the land, the apartment usage kind of book. The government will not issue that book for them for at least 5 years, to make sure that the workers will not take advantage of this, or the capitalists will not take advantage of it to sell it into a higher price, to take a big cut. So yeah, and it truly will give the limited resources, social housing, to people who really need it. And that is how it works. Yeah, that is how it works. And it's pretty good. And we are building on the path of building a million, cheap houses for low income people like that. Oh, that's a silver chat from Cornetius. I hope things goes well. In your break along with EJ. Yeah, I hope so too. I want to go back to my hometown, visit my mom and my dad, and keep working on my. I already have a bunch of videos ready, raw footage, and I just need to edit it. And I'm gonna have a video about the last video of the on the series of democratic centralism, video about my volunteer trip with the Vietnamese Communist Youth Union students, which is really awesome. It's just like a lot of footage. I need a long edit before I can release that. The next one is gonna be about the foreign policies of Vietnam, about it's because Vietnam just upgraded the relationship with the USA, which I did talk about it 2 weeks ago. And now I make a video explaining to you what actually that means in the official foreign policy of Vietnam. Hope you understand, like maybe in the future you will not get confused or frustrated anymore. And the last one is going to be about the Pew Research. So I've been talking about this a lot. The BS chart from Pew Research showing that Vietnam actually loves a free market economy or something like that. But anyway, yeah, this will be very interesting, and hope that you will find that interesting too. Orange checking the chat right now. Oh, Big Teal, hi. This is the last Mooncast for a while. It's not last ever. It's just that I've been say it again. I've been doing Mooncast for 5 years straight, and I barely took a break. Barely. It's kind of a bit exhausting to me, and I decided to take a break for maybe a few months. Yeah, everything reset, and hopefully when I came back,
we might do a podcast.
We might do a podcast.
You should tell
Actually,
them about your email list too.
Oh yeah, can you do that, EJ? I'm not good at it.
I'm gonna put the banner up.
Yeah.
So just tell them, we got a mailing list if they want to get updated. There's the address to add your email address.
Yeah. Uh. Uh.
You know what a mailing list is, right?
I'm just so out of loop. If you want to be informed, if our broadcasts are out or new video or something, or if like the Mooncast and the broadcasts are back, please just email us.
No, it's a mailing list. Join the mailing list.
Join the mailing list. I don't know how this works. I'm a boomer. That's why I tell you to help.
Boomers are the ones who use mailing lists.
Oh, I don't. I even boomer than a boomer.
You're a zoomer.
I do not know how a mailing list works.
You go to this website, you put your email in it, and then we have their email address so we can email them.
Oh.
A list of mail.
Oh, right. Okay.
What's weird is on broadcast, you acted like you knew what I was talking about.
I was good at acting. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the reason it's important is because we might make this into a podcast or something, and then if people want to be informed about it, they could be on the mailing list. Or if they're on Patreon or Camaraderie, you know what I'm saying?
Big Teal said, Luna and I are millennial boomers. In a way that I don't know how millennial and boomers
you're a zoomer
function.
Because you just use your smartphone for everything.
Yeah.
You don't want to use email or any of the older, more solid, reliable technology like a keyboard and a mouse.
I have no question, but you guys are cool. Hey, thank you, Kevin. That's sweet of you. All right, this is our mailing list. Just check, put your email here in this website if you want to be informed. If we won't spam you, we hate spam, so maybe worst case scenario would be 2 emails per week informing that there's a broadcast available.
If we email people twice per week, then I'll be shocked.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. Maybe it'll happen once.
Well, it might never happen.
It might never happen. Actually, I'm so sorry. We're so busy. There's no kidding. We're so busy lately. I can't explain to you how crazy it was. Anyway, go back here and turn this. I can't even hide this one now. Dang. Where this banner? I didn't see it.
What? Under brand.
Brand, right?
Yeah.
Under brand?
You forgot how to do that.
I thought it's under banners.
Yeah, it's under banner. I'm sorry.
Toya.
Just click hide banner.
All right, got it. We fighting.
Our brains are fried. That's a big reason for this break.
You're right. I mean, what if we call our podcast that? Our brains are fried.
The brain fried.
Yep.
That sounds good. It's relatable. Hashtag relatable.
The review puppet show is good. I really want to do puppet again, but we are in the middle of what do you call it? We keep moving, so we cannot do that yet because the puppet is kind of pretty special project. We can only do that when it's like really stable and have a normal decent studio. We cannot just do it while we are moving. So pretty sad, but next year, promise, next year it will be back. It will be back. Oh, I want to talk about this too. All right, so retirement. Very important. Vietnam is one of the countries top of the countries in the world that people just retire very early. The age of Vietnam is 54, 56, something like that, between that. 54 and 56. So pretty young. Imagine you can just comfortably retire when you're like, let's say the worst case scenario 56. Pretty amazing. My dad retired when he was 45. it was like he retired when he was just 45 years old, okay, and he's having some monthly retirement kind of salary, so enough for him to live in a village in the middle of nowhere in my hometown, which is okay. And also because like we raise the government raised the retirement salary of my dad nearly once every year, once every 2 years, something like that. Depends. It depends on the actual inflation rate in Vietnam. And this thing that we need to know is that we change our minimum income, the basic income, nearly every year. Like every year, gotta say, from 2009, we changed it every year based on the actual inflation rate of the country. And whenever we did it, we always rate a few percent more. So if, for example, the inflation rate in the last few years in Vietnam is about 2 to 3%, and we raise our basic income, our minimum wage, usually from 2.5 to 5%, usually like that. And it's really good. I mean, Vietnam is still a poor developing country, but actually it's something that we doing better than the USA. The USA hasn't changed its minimum wage since 2009, right? Am I right? People in the chat, can you like confirm that for me? But as far as I remember, you haven't changed anything since 2009, and it's still 7.25 cents per hour, which is not livable wage at all in the US, especially with a bunch of the food inflation and cars maintenance, gasoline, and especially healthcare. Absolutely not. Yeah, $7.25 since 2009. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, we've been changing it once every year, but it's higher than the inflation rate. So it's pretty decent. Yes, I did make a living in Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam, making minimum wage in 2015. And it was okay. It was fine. I can afford everything except I cannot have a saving because like in Vietnam, usually we will save at least 30% of our income for our saving. And the higher we make, the higher we're gonna save. So I was lucky enough for the matter of few years in 2018. I was able to save like 60% of my income. So it's pretty good. And I helped my mom and my dad quite a few at that time. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, usually at least around 30 to 50% of our income will turn into our savings. And in the matter of a while, I made minimum wage in the biggest city, the second biggest city of Vietnam. It was fine. The sad thing is that I couldn't have any savings. All right, so retirement. Vietnam is one of the top countries in the world that have, like best retirement kind of plan. Actually, to me, it's not that great. But to say the fact that Vietnam is top countries in the world for having that is like, holy smokes, other countries must suck a lot, huh? Okay, here I will show you the calculation, the statistics about the retirement plan in Vietnam. It's very simple. We have a national formula calculation. So everybody just calculate their own salary from very early age like that, not like the USA. Let me explain to you first about the system in Vietnam and let's compare that to the US. And I want to know, I know nothing about the retirement system in the USA and I really want to discuss about that too. Hope that you would, give me more information about that. Can I translate this? Doubt it. Because VietnamNet just doesn't allow. No, it's just, all right. Let me do the real-time translation for you. Vietnam has the highest retirement rate in not just in the region but even in the world too. And by this it means that like in Vietnam, the way that we calculate our retirement rate is this. There are two main points that you have to remember. So when you work for a company, the total of the salary that we will use to pay for three kind of different insurance: social insurance, unemployment insurance, and health insurance. Three kind of insurance like that. It's going to be 35% of your income monthly, right now. But the workers do not pay 32%. Sorry, it's my bad. It's 32% of their whole entire income, right? But you do not have to pay the whole entire 32%. No, the workers only have to pay a third of that. So, for example, say like the workers only have to pay like 10% out of 32%, right? And the other 20% is paid by the company who hire them. So it's pretty amazing. So actually, you maybe only a tenth of your monthly income will be paid for three things: unemployment insurance, health insurance, and social insurance. Health insurance, that is for your health. The unemployment insurance is, of course, when you quit or you lost your job or something, you will have an unemployment salary insurance. And the third one is social insurance, and it is for your retirement plan, right? And in Vietnam, not like in the US, we do not have a packages for health or anything like that. No, we don't. We paid it based on the percentage of our income. So no matter like the higher you make, the more percentage, the more money you have to pay, and everybody will share the same system. So like actually it's really freaking awesome in a way that people with higher salary will pay higher percentage and the government will collect them all together, and like we help with the people who has low income, low salary, paying lower kind of percentage, but it's the same service. It's pretty awesome. And when I working for a company, I will sign a contract. The company will give me a list of national hospitals. National hospital is like the highest quality and the cheapest quality in Vietnam. The highest quality and the cheapest price in Vietnam. And that's a list of hospital around the area that I work. that like, and I can pick like, hey, I want, if I am sick, I would want to go to this hospital. And so like we register to that hospital on the list when we sign the contract. And then we will have a health insurance card. And whenever we go to the hospital, just give that card, and then that's it. Cover usually about 80% of the hospital fee. So it was pretty well. Yeah. And also about the unemployment insurance, it's not like in the US at all. In Vietnam, whenever you stop working for a company and you paid for at least 6 months of unemployment insurance before, you will receive unemployment insurance. It doesn't matter if you intentionally, actively quit the job. They don't care about the reason. They only care about, okay, you start working for this company and you already paid unemployment insurance for at least 6 months before. The longer you pay, the more months you will have. So because I pay every 6 months, we will get 1 month. So last time I had unemployment insurance, I worked for a company and I paid unemployment insurance for like 1 year, 1.5 years or something like that. All together, I got 3 months of unemployment insurance. Pretty amazing. And here's the thing, I got 3 months. So I did not have to prove at all. It's not hard at all to prove that I was still unemployed in that matter of 3 months. The lady, the labor department of that local area just called me once every month. They're like, hey, you got a job, new job yet? And so like, no, I haven't. Like, okay. So like they just sent me my unemployment insurance. It's really amazing.
You know that we don't get unemployment if we get fired?
Wait a minute.
They say for cause.
That is.
So like if your boss says that you screwed up at work and they fired you because you screwed up, then they don't have to give you unemployment.
That is bad.
It's only if you get laid off, basically.
Wow. That's so easy for capitalists to just go around it. Yep. Because they just make the working condition really bad. And
no, that's what they do a lot. Is they'll just make conditions so bad that people quit.
Yeah.
And then they don't have to pay insurance.
So the company pays or the government pay?
It's complicated because the company pays, then the government pays.
That's funny. The way we do is that like the government keep collecting that insurance from the companies every month, and when we start working for companies, the government just pay everything. There's no company involved. That is why
it costs companies more because it's supposed to be. The way they put it is that it's good for workers because it discourages companies from just laying people off.
But no,
that's not how it works out.
It's not how it works out in reality at all. Oh, Jay from New Jersey. New Jersey. Oh my God.
You never talk about New Jersey with the Sopranos?
I know New Jersey. I'm not good at the sound of the J and the S sound at the same time.
It's okay. There are very few reasons to ever talk about New Jersey. Unless you're talking about the Sopranos.
The minimum wage here in New Jersey is $14.13 per hour, which is about $225,000. I heard that Vietnam gives special visa to elderly foreigners that wish to retire there. I don't think so. I think Thailand does.
I don't think Vietnam does that.
Yeah, I don't think Vietnam does this yet. But Thailand does.
People here are here on tourist visas.
Yeah. So.
I might be wrong though. I'm not.
No, I haven't heard of any news yet. I did some research a few months ago.
The only thing Vietnam has is business visas and tourist visas and work visas.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
And
spouse visas.
Spouse visa. That's it. One of the 4. Yeah. So, but Thailand does. You can just go to Thailand and visit Vietnam like sometimes. Right?
Well, I'm not telling people to do this, but most retired people here just come on a tourist visa.
True. Oh my gosh. The minimum wage in Saskatchewan goes up to 14 Canadian dollar per hour tomorrow. Tomorrow. Lowest in Canada. Oh my goodness. All right. Ayo, Faith. Hello, now I'm finally got around to ordering your book. I look forward to reading it. Ayo. Yes, I hope that you will enjoy it too. Hopefully it will help you too. Thank you so much for support. Also, retirement savings in the US is high. Yeah, I want to talk about this too. Retirement in the US is highly contingent on the stock market, which puts the burden on of risk entirely on the worker. Exactly. It's I don't want this system. Let me finish the Vietnamese system a little bit. So the social insurance is like 1.5% of the total out of 10% that we pay. And we only have to pay like 1.5% of our income. And then when we actually retire, we can receive 75% of our average incomes in the all of our working time, the highest in the world. Remember that. The highest, one of the highest in the world. Not like I'm not claiming to be the highest, but one of the highest. Like, yeah. 75% of the all the entire average income of your last 20 years of working, just so for example. So yeah, it's pretty good. And also, once you are retired and receive 75% of your average income, you will have a free health care too, free health insurance like my dad does. The other thing, like my dad will retire very soon, like when he was 45, very soon. So his health insurance only cover 95% of all the hospital fee that he got. If he retired and he's like 50, he would receive like 100%. But anyway, it's pretty awesome. So my dad had, several kind of severe cases, such as like his lung. He got choked in gasoline a few years ago, really bad, choked in gasoline, and the gasoline got into his lung, and he coughed blood and bunch of stuff like that.
Don't try to siphon gasoline with a tube with your lungs.
No, don't do that. Don't. I know that a lot of you might do that or already did it. Because when you fix, my dad it happened was like my dad tried to fix an engine in a heavy truck, and they needed some gasoline into the tank so he can, check. And instead of using the canister, he used a tube to suck from this tank in to do that thing, and he just choked on gasoline. It's just so bad. Don't do that. And he coughed blood pretty bad. And I mean, gotta say, go to the hospital was never a concern of my family, even though they're just poor farmers, retired, both living in a village in the middle of nowhere in Vietnam. But like the story of you're sick, you need to go to the hospital. End of story. There was no concern about money at all because so amazing that my dad got covered 95%. My mom and my brother and me got covered nearly like 100%. This is a story, another true story that I told you a while ago before. My older brother got cancer, second stage already, pretty severe. And the whole entire surgery fee of him, the second stage of cancer, was $500. That's just it. It's done. And my brother now need to check once every 6 months to make sure that all the cancer cells there's no new cancer cell. But for now, over a year or something like that, he's still fine. And it was that stage 2 kind of cancer, and it was about on the it was on the edge of moving to a different organs, and we just found like right before that, so pretty severe. But $500, that was it, because of those awesome national health insurance in Vietnam that paid this based on the percentage of your salary, is not packaged. So my family actually benefit a lot from this very great, heavily subsidized system of insurance in Vietnam, health insurance. It's not free yet, but it's pretty close to that. And this is free for poor people. Every people who are in poor or in retirement, they have free healthcare. They're pretty amazing like that, and we are getting closer and closer. So yeah. And Vietnam, we only have to. Yeah, here you go. And actually, in one of our previous meeting, National Assembly meeting, one of the representative in that National Assembly, I gotta say, he's like either a pawn of capitalism or something like that. He said like, oh, Vietnam is paying 32% of income workers, ex-worker pay 32% of the income for all kind of insurance, and now we should put it down to 25% only. And mostly because they, I guess the companies, the capitalist companies, they want to pay lower rate so they spend less money. Asshole evil. And then there's one person like suggests like maybe you should get it down from 32% to 25% only, and the government and then the whole entire National Assembly and the Ministry of Labor is just like, no, they disagree with that, because like it would affect the benefits of the workers a lot, because if we get down to 7% means that the workers will have a less the retirement salary in the future. So no, it's totally got dismissed. And it is it. And we compare that to so it means that like us we only pay 10% of our whole entire income. I think the retirement is 1.5%. But like means that now we spend, Vietnam is the highest in the world in the sense that like you can save about 2.15% with male and 2.5% with female that we are saving every month for your retirement salary later. It's different from, because like women we save higher, we can save more because we can retire 5 years earlier than men. That's according to our labor law. Yeah, like if you're saving from 2.14% to 2.5%, meanwhile, like in China and South Korea, is the saving is only 1%, and even the world average is only 1.7% of your income for retirement fund. In Vietnam, it's almost double, almost double than China, and more than double than China and Korea, South Korea. So here you go. It's pretty decent kind of policy that we have right here. Let me check the chat. Vietnam healthcare sounds so humane. It is pretty humane thing in a way. It's so sad that we don't have a free healthcare yet, but pretty close to that. Heavily subsidized by the government. And again, we don't pay by package. Like in the US, you choose packages, right?
Yeah, you choose a package, and the more you pay,
The
better it is theoretically.
Yeah. In Vietnam, it doesn't work like that. So Isa just told me that like in the US, you have a packages to choose, and the higher you pay, the better quality you can receive. In Vietnam, it's the same. It doesn't matter. You like it's just based on your actual percentage of your income, and whatever kind of income that you have, you can have the same system. Super rich people, they can just go private international hospital or go abroad. I don't care. But if they choose the same system as the national health insurance, they would have the same quality whatsoever. So pretty amazing.
Explain that again.
Huh?
That wasn't very clear to me.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. In Vietnam, we do not only just have a national health hospital system. We have a private hospital system too. Private and clinic. There are kind of three levels of that. So the lowest level is the clinic that owned by some private doctors or something like that. And it's usually just to treat, like very simple kind of disease or symptoms or something like that. It's fast, it's decent price, and it's just right next to your house, something like that. So it's convenient in that way. The second system, the higher one, is the private hospital or international hospital owned by some private capitalists. They have a really good service. Like this is for like high income people, like rich people. Really good service. They can speak English very, very, very well. It's for tourists too. And of course, you pay the full fee, and with good service, but the quality is not that good. It's okay. It's decent, but most people go there for the service and for the languages that they speak. And the highest quality is the national hospital system, and then funded by the government, and it has the best doctors, in Vietnam, the highest quality but very cheap price, and is heavily subsidized by the government, and usually for people with national health insurance to come there. The one bad point of that is because it's the highest quality and the cheapest price, and it is used for national insurance. This is why there's always a lot of people there. So you go there, you have to wait for a long line, but the quality is good and the price is very affordable, even if you don't have a health insurance. All right. And usually, yeah, that is like the only bad point of that. That is why a lot of like high income people just do not choose that because they don't have a time or anything. They don't want to wait in a long line. You can go to private hospital. So that is basic information about the health insurance system in Vietnam. The US would have to have a complete system change before healthcare housing easy can be a reality. Yeah, it is. It is a mess. It is a mess. You don't even have a public transportation, which is in my head until this day. I should think that it should be a basic, a fundamental thing to have in order to run a country, let alone the wealthiest nation on earth, the USA, right? You need to have a public transportation so the people can move around and save a lot of space because like if every single person in the city just own their own uh, motorbikes or car, it just costs a lot of space for the city, especially in the dense area. It's just like, just think about it as a very simple mindset of city planning. Oh, the US does not have a city planning. I'm sorry, overestimated you. But if you really want to you don't need to be a genius to know that when you run a city, run a country, you need to have some decent, at least public transportation to save the space for the city so it can develop different things, and it's way more convenient this way and it's way more affordable. But this kind of thing in the US are like you never got national funding at all. And even your train, you have a train, but it's only for vast majority, the big part of it is just for transport like stuff, not human. It's very expensive. It does carry human, and mostly it's by cars. Like it's bad. It's bad. What if like in Vietnam when if we want to travel somewhere with our family or something like that, and we don't have a car. Usually, most of us we don't have a car. You don't need a car. Go travel. We can either go by sleeping bus, different cities, or we can go by train, which I love train. Which is today I'm gonna take a train to Hanoi. Really amazing. Go to north to south of Vietnam, public train. Or you can take like flight, which is okay. Like we use the same thing in the US, like flight, but like in Vietnam, we can have that option of train and sleeping bus. Pretty good, kind of decent quality, decent price. Hmm. Yeah, and I did. It's kind of I don't know. I don't know. It's just individualism mindset. It's like wow. I'm talking about that because I did, yeah, I did meet some people online on my channel and on Twitter talking about how they think that having public transportation is somehow hurt their freedom.
Yeah. Oh my God. Some of those Twitter battles you had with people.
Yes. Like, what in the world? Even to this moment, it was like, what in the world is that? How?
Look, even if you love your car and you absolutely love your car and you never
Yeah.
want to give it up, you should want more buses so that there are fewer other cars on the road.
So you can have fewer competitors on the road.
It's like so silly that people do that.
If you really love car, you should encourage people to take the
Take the
public
bus.
transportation because like, hey, so I'm gonna be alone in this road. This is
There's
amazing.
less traffic.
If you're just a really evil person,
Like a
love
super
car,
hyper-individualist
yes,
should love buses because there's less traffic.
yeah. I mean, isn't that obvious?
Not if you're a ding dong. Everyone thinks they're coming for your toothbrush. The communists want to take my car. It's like, no, we just want more people to take the bus.
Yeah.
We will take your car eventually, but. So silly.
When everyone uses the car, it costs a lot. Materials and labor for roads, wasted land for road parking lots, import bills for oil, the depreciation and repairs of cars, and yeah, it's just bad. The only thing that is good for is car companies.
Think about how much of your paycheck you spend every month on
driving
your car.
Yeah.
Between the fuel
and car maintenance costs a lot. It's not cheap.
So when people say that, like, oh, a car's more convenient, it's like, no, because you have to go to work for like an extra week every month just to pay for your car. That's not more convenient.
And that is in the condition that your car never broke.
No, it's because your car will break down, believe me. Are you kidding? Everyone's car breaks down all the time. That's just universal.
All right, let's check out this article. Well, let's talk about how Ho Chi Minh's idea about the people, masses. It's going to be very interesting. It's come from the Communist Review of Vietnam. Now, Ho Chi Minh's idea about respecting the people. The people is, respecting the people is a very, very big part in Ho Chi Minh thought.
Proletarian piety.
Yes, proletarian piety.
Maybe we should start by explaining that.
Yeah. So, it's a good idea, EJ. Proletarian piety. So, it is a thing that, let me set up this story for you to understand it easier. Ho Chi Minh, you know that when he applied Marxism-Leninism into the very specific material conditions of Vietnam in the 20s to the 60s. Oh, you know that Vietnam is an Asian country that was heavily influenced by Confucianism. Confucianism, long story short, it came from a guy alive over 2,000 years ago, Confucian. He was, I believe he was a dick. All right, he was a fucking dick. He was a guy who literally claimed that the woman is tiểu nhân and the man is the quân tử. And tiểu nhân means that people who like small people, both literally and like small people in the sense of like we are women, just evil, just have bad ideas, and the position of women is only in the kitchen and carry babies. While the man, they should run the country, run the family, and have a war to be kings, and to be lords, and the women's only there. I mean, and they have even an evil saying at that time is that there was a story in the Confucianism about a guy who lost his position in society, lost the city that he owned. It was because he listened to his wife. So from that story, they have a saying that, like, super patriarchal kind of saying expression that, if you want to be successful in your life, just go back home, ask your wife about your plans, and do exactly opposite to what she told you. That's the expression in Vietnam. Confucian was a dick.
We call it
Confucius, whatever.
What was his actual name in Chinese?
Kongzi, Confucius, whatever. Yeah, I hate that guy. Vietnamese women hate that guy. All right. So from that kind of mindset, And at the same time, like he expanded that kind of mindset into like, okay, the woman should respect the man, the children should respect the parents. All right, it's called the piety. And in Confucianism, that piety only limit in kind of two level. Is that like the in the family level means that the children must love and totally respect and obey 100% the family or older members of the family. And in the national kind of level, like the mandarins, the servants of the king, must absolutely obey and deeply love the kings and their royal family and their lords like that. Kind of like that. So it was like totally like, yeah, Confucianism is a patriarchy. Hyper patriarchy. It was opposite to the matriarchy. Before Confucianism came to Vietnam, Vietnam was a matriarchal kind of nation where the woman took power of the society and the family, something like that. Then the children would carry the name of the woman, not the man. And then under the autonomous occupation, the patriarchy got, imported to Vietnam and conflicted a lot with the matriarchy kind of society before. So Ho Chi Minh kind of, apply dialectical materialism in that kind of very conflict time of Vietnam like that, because Vietnam we were first it was matriarchal, and then the patriarchy got imposed on us through Confucianism, and then about 100 years of colonialism by the French, we were indoctrinated with racism too. So it was really terrible back then. And about that time, because like Ho Chi Minh knew that, and a bunch of other communists too, you knew that the working class, we want to liberate the working class, to free our people, our oppressed people. And that was the society of Vietnam at that time with that Confucianism. So Ho Chi Minh developed the Confucius concept about piety into the people's piety. Hiếu với dân is the word in Vietnamese. Hiếu với dân, the people's piety. It means that instead of clinging into the old, out of date concept of piety to your parents and to your kings, now we as communists, we need to develop our piety for the people, for the masses, for the working class. And we need to listen we need to unconditionally love oppressed people. We need to be as friend with them. We need to listen to them, but at the same time, we need to guide them because they are uneducated. They did not know anything about communism and Marxism, Leninism. We need to be a friend to the people. Like Lenin wrote a book about how to be a friend of the what is to be a friend of the people or something like that. Ho Chi Minh's idea is kind of close to this, like how to be a friend of the people. But at the same time, we need to educate them, not just blindly follow them like tailism. No, we need to educate and guide the masses with love, with deep love and understanding of that. So that is the Brutarian piety, the people's piety that Ho Chi Minh developed a lot in the Ho Chi Minh thought that we combine them later. So, and here's the thing, and this is the article. I think, hey, EJ, will you refresh the browser? The internet is choppy again. I will be back in 2 seconds. I see that like the video is a bit choppy. Maybe because of the. All right. Okay, we're back. We're back. So, okay. So that is from Uncle Ho. Now, this is an article about, the Ho Chi Minh's ideology of respecting the people and lessons in building a government to serve the people today. Pretty good. Let's read this. President Ho Chi Minh's ideology of respecting the people is a basic important and throughout his entire revolutionary career, and still has its theoretical and practical value to this day. Researching and applying his ideology of respecting the people in building a government that serves the people is extremely important, contributing to the successful implementation of the goals set by the 13th Congress of the party. This is the picture of our President Võ Văn Thưởng visiting, in the Thuận Thành district, Bắc Ninh province, in the industrial zone, meeting the workers over there. The content of President Ho Chi Minh's ideology of respecting the people. What does this mean? President Ho Chi Minh, on the basis of inheriting national traditions and human culture, he introduced the concept of people with a very broad connotation and mainly referred to the Vietnamese people. He often called the people by many different names, such as people, our people, or the people or compatriots, like in Vietnamese in English, showing the closeness and ease of understanding. According to him, people are the majority of a nation with different ethnicities, religions, genders, and classes living in the country or abroad, regardless of race, male or female, rich or poor, religion, kind of job that they do. In the context of being an agriculture and colonial country, as I said, Vietnam, he developed this in the colonialism time. Vietnam was colonized by the French. President Ho Chi Minh mainly mentioned the direct production force with great material and spiritual potential, which are the working people, including workers, farmers, intellectuals. He pointed out there are four main classes of the people. They are workers, farmers, petty bourgeois, and national bourgeois, and other patriotic elements. That is specifically for the Vietnamese society in the 40s. It might change to this day. It will be different in your society. So do not take these words as Bible. It's just Ho Chi Minh's analysis, or Ho Chi Minh's thought, Ho Chi Minh's ideology, Ho Chi Minh's ideas about Vietnamese society in the matter of 1940s. In many articles and speeches, he refers to the people with the connotation of all Vietnamese people. The child of dragon and a fairy. I told you the story about con rồng cháu tiên. Well, actually, Vietnamese people are the descendants of a dragon and a fairy on a mountain. Regardless of old, young, female, male, rich and poor, noble, poor, blah, blah, blah. That is the foundation of the nation. The people is the foundation of a nation. Moreover, President Ho Chi Minh distinguished the difference between the nation and the people. The nation is all Vietnamese people with the same origin, culture, and history, regardless of whether they are progressive or reactionary. He said, the people and the nation are different. The people are four classes: workers, farmers, petty bourgeois, and national bourgeois, and other patriotic elements. That is the foundation of the nation. The reactionaries who have not yet been executed are still nationals. But they are not in the people's position and do not enjoy the same rights as the people. They do not have the right to elect or run for office, no right to organize propaganda, etc., but they need to fulfill their obligations, such as obeying order and obeying the people's laws. That is why, to this day, big capitalists cannot be the member of the Communist Party of Vietnam. So that is one of the big parts. It's talking about the reactionary kind of part of society. They are they cannot have the right to run for office or organize propaganda, blah, blah, but they still have to fulfill their obligations, such as obeying the laws.
You don't want to give free speech to fascists?
We don't want to give free speech to fascists, the most reactionary of them all. There's no free speech for fascists. Fascists are not allowed to run for office here. So based on Ho Chi Minh's words, and that is true. Big capitalists cannot be a member of the Communist Party of Vietnam at all. And if we find out, if they become the members of the Communist Party of Vietnam, and we find out they're rich capitalists, they will be kicked out of the party immediately. And also at the same time, the people who be in the National Assembly of Vietnam, like the Congress in the USA, they cannot own any business. The moment we find out that they own any business, they will be kicked out of the National Assembly. There's no doubt about it. So that is very different than in the US, where billionaires literally became the president. You know, it's illegal in Vietnam. A billionaire cannot buy their way into the politics in Vietnam, let alone being elected to president. My gosh, horrible. What a bourgeois democracy you have. All right. The people, in his view, are the collection of all Vietnamese people of different classes and social strata, mainly workers, but does not include, like traders, the people who violate and harm national and ethnic interests. Not fascists, absolutely. Fascists are not the people you're talking about here. President Ho Chi Minh's concept of the people is in the inheritance of the historical ideology of respect for the people, and is consistent with the views of Marxist-Leninist theorists, as pointed out when affirming the role of the masses. Gosh. I will say it again. According to Ho Chi Minh, fascists are not the people. Just keep in mind that. I'm checking the chat right now. Hey, you, there's a Joseph from Brazil. Remember, I had trouble with this name in recording the video. Now there's Joseph in the chat right now. It's a Brazilian, Conrad, and like my channel. Hey, thank you so much. I just talk about, Vietnam's official visit to Brazil right now, and we signed a lot of agreement, and it is really funny. It is really funny that the whole entire 4 years of Bolsonaro in Brazil, Vietnam did not have any diplomatic official visit at all to Brazil. No agreement, no signature at all whatsoever. But the moment that Bolsonaro lost and Lula took over, he immediately had a 4-day trip visit to the US, to Brazil, and signed 4 big agreements together, from education to agriculture to national defense. Like, that's amazing, right? That says something, right? We did not say it, but definitely we did not like Bolsonaro. Promoting the role and strengths of the people. Since the beginning of human society until now, social history has been created and built by the masses. That is true. And it is the driving force that pushes history forward continuously. Exactly. Usually, whenever there's a big revolution, it's because of the masses who led it. Not in the U.S. Civil War, the U.S. situation though. The American Revolution, you had actually a bunch of the revolution and a bunch of settlers against the king. It's kind of progressive in that way. But anyway, long story short, when you changed from a slavery society into a feudal society, it was the slaves that had revolution. And in Vietnam and a bunch of other countries, it was the workers and the farmers that had revolution, like in Vietnam, in China, in Russia, in Laos and Cuba too. So it was the masses who led to change the society. Vietnamese people, through thousands of years of history building and defending the country, have formed the ideology of respecting the people, considering the people as the roots, carry the... Oh, this is the saying in Vietnam. Bad translation, but here's the thing. It's from a saying in Ho Chi Minh that lật thuyền mới biết sức dân như nước. So he compared the power of the people, of the masses, as water. Water can help carry the boat, but it can also sink the boat. That is how important the people is, and it's a very, very good metaphor, I gotta say. Like, yeah, and the boat is like the vanguard party, the Communist Party. Like the boat, like, is carried by the people, by the water, And as long as we understand the water, we know the water, and we run alongside with the power of the water, it can carry the boat and we can move forward together. But once the boat do something wrong, the water will sink the boat, or the boat has got broken or got a hole and things, something like that. The boat will sink by the water. That is how important and the role of the people in, you know, in the matter of nation, running a nation like that. Observing the quintessence of the nation. President emphasized the ideology of respecting the people in many speeches. Again, explain the word quintessence. So in Vietnamese, the word quintessence is tinh hoa. And I translated this and I talk about this in my book, the curriculum of basic principle of Marxism, Leninism. It has a different meaning with the word quintessence in English. Quintessence in Vietnam means tinh hoa, and it means that it has only positive meaning. All right? Tinh hoa means something, the best of something, the finest essence of something. It's like the best of you. Leave out all the bad parts, because I know that you are not perfect. We have a lot of mistakes, but like we only see or take the best of something out and then develop from that. That is like totally 100% positive meaning. Quintessence. So it means that in the quintessence of the nation, it means that the nation is something that is not perfect. It has reactionary elements. It has progressive elements. It has the good part and the bad part. And what we do is that we take the quintessence, the finest part of that nation, and develop it more with the people, alongside with the people, and educate the people. That is what it means here. President Ho Chi Minh emphasized the ideology of respecting the people in many speeches, articles, and practices in revolutionary practice. And the truth, and this his slogan is that whatever is beneficial to the people, it must be done with all our might. Anything that is harmful to the people must be avoided as much as possible. Anything we do is for the benefit of the people. And anything that harm the people must be avoided. That's the spirit of the saying, of the sentence. He repeated affirm the ideology of taking the people as the root. If the roots are strong, the tree will be durable. Building a victory on the foundation, we must build a victory based on the foundation of the people. Yeah. All right, move forward. There is nothing more priceless than the people. In the world, there is nothing stronger than the united force of the people. This is the strength of the people that he's trying to confirm here. All right. And this is the another idea of Ho Chi Minh about respecting the people. Appreciate and identify the people as the goal and driving force of the revolution. Man, that is true. This is one of the basic content of Ho Chi Minh's ideology, because people are the people are the starting point and also the final destination in all of our revolutionary views and activities. Early on, when Ho Chi Minh witnessed the country losing its own home because under the occupation of French, and then the invasion of the USA, he gradually formed the will to save the country associated with the saving the people, and decided to take the action. Okay, all right. And in one of his saying, he said, I devoted my whole life to my people. And when he returned to the world of good, he also had nothing to regret. Because the translation is bad. All right, he says this message means that Ho Chi Minh said he devoted his whole life for the people, and then he got back from his long journey out of the country back to Vietnam. He said, I have nothing to regret. 30 years. He spent 30 years outside of the country before he came back and started the revolution. The second important point is that the people are not only the main labor force directly creating material and spiritual wealth for society, but also the driving force for promoting revolutionary development. He affirmed that, Ho Chi Minh affirmed that. All material wealth in society is made by workers and farmers. Thanks to the labor of workers and farmers, the society can survive and develop. Yeah, it's just like the productive forces, the most important, the workers and the farmers, make the commodities and make the food for the whole nation to survive. Next point is the people are the masters of the government. The people master. After the country gained independence and built a new state government, he affirmed, our country is a democratic country. How many benefits? Oh, bad translation. My gosh. This is why I say do not trust Google Translate or ChatGPT when translating Vietnamese to English. It's just bad. Our country is a democratic country. We will do whatever it takes for the benefits of the people. All the powers must belong to the people. All the renovation and construction work is the responsibility of the whole entire people. So, all the resistance and the national construction is the work of the people. All the government, from the commune level to central level are elected by the people. All the organization from central government back to the commune levels are organized by the people. In short, power and force always reside in the people. It is the people who does everything, and the government is just a tool for the people to do that. God, it's a heck of a job translating that horrible translation. Now we're applying Ho Chi Minh's ideology of respecting the people to build a government for the people to serve in Vietnam in the current period. All right, let me read this real quick. During the 2021 into 2030 period, our party's orientation is building a state administration that serves the people, democratic, with under the rule of law, professional, modern, clean and strong and open and transparent party. All right, transparent government. We love using a bunch of adjectives together in long sentence. Sorry, how bad. The state administration from central to the grassroots level is institutionalized in practice of social life. From 2012 to present, the total number of legal documents issued by ministries is more than 8,600 documents. Each year, ministry submit more than 140 guiding decrees to the government, establishing an institutional framework for the operation of a socialist-oriented market economy, create favorable conditions for people to participate in the government activities, and at the same time create a synchronous and unified legal basis for the organization and operation of state administrative agencies at the central and local levels. All right, better move on. A bunch of statistics, boring. But anyway, they're talking about how we, from the words and ideology of Ho Chi Minh, we actually build a system in which, the people and the government, work together, and how the people through the government, try to operate and run the country through a bunch of, documents and decrees and, something like that. Ooh, a lot. The team of officials and civil servants is increasingly trained and have a professional capacity, and all meet the job requirement, has an increasing sense of responsibility and professionalism, thereby serving people better and better. However, this is the however part. Building an administration to serve people has so far not fully met the country's development requirement, revealing a number of limitations that need to be overcome, especially first. Oh, these are the bad weaknesses that we need to overcome. Number one, there is still a problem of debt. Detailed regulation on laws and ordinances that have taken legal effect fall under the promulgation authority of ministry and ministerial level agencies, leading to difficulties in organizing and enforcing law. Yet that is a big issue here. It's kind of hard to get a debt in Vietnam. Second, and Vietnam also still has a lot of debt to other countries. The state administrative system is not really streamlined and effective. Good. The assignment, good that they realize that. It's not good that they still, the good means that they realize that they are not effective yet. Decentralization, power between sectors and levels are not reasonable, not synchronous, means that they're not aligned with each other. The capacity of some localities does not meet the requirements. Yeah, this is true. Coordination between ministry branches and localities still lack tightness. And implementing innovation in working places has still not yet come into reality. Yeah, a lot of places still not really change their style working yet. Pretty old style, outdated, strong bureaucracy. Direction of organization of law enforcement coordination mechanism between the government ministry is still poor, I guess. Oh my gosh. All right. All right, this is like some promise came from the government of Vietnam. First, we must thoroughly grasp the concept that the people are the masters, and the people must guide the principles for building a government to serve the people. The second is promote socialist democracy. Ooh, sounds familiar to you? I
think someone has a video on that subject.
I had a whole series about socialist democracy. Long story short, what we call democracy here, as Lenin called, is socialist democracy. And what you have is bourgeois democracy. The socialist democracy is an institution where the people, according to Lenin, there are 4 criteria. I remember this so well. I'm an expert on this already. According to Lenin, there are 4 criteria for socialist democracy. First criteria is that all citizens are equal under the law. The second is that, what else? All decisions decided by vote.
Better be able to back it up.
Shit. All decisions decided by vote. And, like doing democracy through vote is the sign of pure and true democracy. Something like that. Oh, yeah. All citizens are equal under the law. And the second is that all citizens are equally protected by the law. Something like that. I could be wrong. Damn. Long time no touching that 4 criteria like that. So that is socialist democracy. You can go back and watch my series about democratic century if you want to know more about that. And the same thing is we are building socialist democracy, different from the bourgeois democracy in your country that you're having. Ensure the people's right to be the owner and master in the administrative activities of the civil service. All right. Same thing. Make sure that the people master. Third is continue to build a team of officials and civil servants who are truly servants of the people. Yeah, bureaucracy need to deal with that. Corruption and bureaucracy, not a big problem. Well, that is it. That is it. Oh my gosh, this is a long article, I gotta say. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, true. All right. I'm checking the chat right now and let my throat rest for a few minutes. No, this is a Vietnamese comrade in the chat. Here, throughout thousands of years of history, we always considered the people is the number one priority target. Without the people, there is no nation. That's true. I agree with you. Totally. This article is amazing. That is true. The article is amazing. That doesn't just feel. There's a one point in the article that I really want to say it again. That according to Ho Chi Minh, the nation and the people are two different. The nation is all elements inside that kind of territory, including the human, all kinds of elements in that. The territory, the human, the nature, and the people here include like the reactionary kind of elements and also the progressive elements. That is the nation. But talking about the people, the masses, we only mean the workers and farmers that, oppressed people, progressive, they want to change society. We don't consider reactionary elements to be the part of the people. Uh-huh. That could be very different from your mindset that you already have, especially in the West. When you talk about the people, means that everything in it. No, it is a nation. The people is different, and we fight for the nation. We fight for the liberation of the people. The
Well, they said the nationals, fascists are nationals, but not of.
yeah, yeah. The next point is that, to be clear, the fascist, the reactionary element is a part of the nation, but it's not the people. We do not listen to those factions.
The reason I think that's important is because everyone else likes to say that Ho Chi Minh was a nationalist.
Mm-hmm.
If he were just like essentially a nationalist, he would consider fascists like
To be
as equal
his
to
people too.
communists.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
he's explicitly saying they're part of the nation, but they're not part of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like not what a American nationalist would say,
Mm-hmm.
because an American nationalist would say, like a chauvinist nationalist in the USA would say,
Mm-hmm.
I might disagree with you, but I'll die for your right to say it, blah, 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 because you're an American. After all, we're all Americans. That's
Totally
chauvinist
different.
nationalism.
Yeah, that's
So I
totally
think it's really
different.
important to keep that distinction.
I, as a worker and communist, disagree with you, and I'm not gonna die for you. I'm not gonna die any fascist. No way. He's not my people. Kidding me? Yeah, big deal. It's a nation versus the people. Got it? Like, yeah, that is the. I think I should have a short video about this soon. The Ho Chi Minh's idea about the nation and the people, and do not equate them to with each other, even though they heavily overlay with each other, but they're not the same thing. And we as a communists, we fight for the people. Means that for the oppressed people, for the working class, for the farmers and the workers, not for reactionaries, fascist traders. We do not consider traders to be our class traders, to be our people. No. Oh man, Big Teo, it should make me hungry so much. Big Teo is back with snacks, bell peppers, hummus, and butter crackers. I'm so hungry. Socialist democracy is a heck of a lot better than bourgeois democracy. That is true.
That's the point.
That's the point. It's so funny in one of the video I talk about it. Like, like those bourgeois democracies, the countries, capitalist countries, they've been using their propaganda to claim that they are the true democracy while we are authoritarian, totalitarian, no democracy nations, right? That is their perspective all over the place. But in our perspective, we both democracies. We just different, we serve a different class of people. Our democracy is called socialist democracy, where we serve the working class and the people are the masters of the society, right? For the people, by the people, and mastered by the people. We call it socialist democracy. Meanwhile, in the West, what we call you is bourgeois democracy. It is in a way, it's a democracy, but only for the bourgeoisie, for the 1%. And this is why in Vietnam, I just said, big capitalists cannot become the party member. The moment we find out that a party member also own a business, they out. All right? And the moment we find out, and also like the second part is like forgot, I have a brain fog. The National Assembly of Vietnam too. The National Assembly of Vietnam is really different. They can like what I said is that like big capitalist, and then about in the National Assembly of Vietnam too, and they cannot own any business if they are the representative in the National Assembly of Vietnam. That is a big difference. In the U.S., like when you know, like in the U.S., the billionaires just like use their money to buy the votes and voting, and it did happen. A billionaire like Donald Trump became the president. Oh, I'm so hungry. The Western culture is cringe. Yep. Oh, that is cool. You want to be with your fiance who also a comrade? That is cool. Okay, happy for you both. Tough line of reactionaries not being part of the people. I think neo-colonization makes me think they were part of the people in terms of class.
They are part of the class.
They are part of the class. They are part of the
class
nation.
Relations. So yeah, that's very important.
It's very important to understand too. Yeah, need to distinguish when Ho Chi Minh talk about the nation and the people and class.
There's three things here we're talking about. There's the nation, the people, and the class.
Mm-hmm. And what Ho Chi Minh called the people is like the progressive elements of all of that. The reactionary elements push out. So that is what he called the people. The people who are like usually they oppressed and they have a class consciousness. They want to free themselves and free other people. They have the love for other people. They are not class traitors. They are not nation traitors. They are not reactionary. They're not fascist. They don't want to build their freedom on the price of different other people.
It's rare. It's very, very rare. But for instance, a petty bourgeois person can be a communist.
Yes. And it did happen in history of Vietnam. It did.
Yeah, the Vietnamese had petty bourgeois people very much on their side. I think a lot of that has to do with colonialism. And the material conditions of Vietnam in the revolutionary period are a lot different than like the USA today, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just take Ho Chi Minh's analysis and just lay it over the USA.
You can take it under consideration for your further analysis about your society.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the point is that like the people is not referring to class. Mm-hmm. It's referring to basically like people who are supporting the
communism. Exactly like that. So that is why, like, it is different from. I hear a lot about
Oh, and wait, there's one more thing before you move on.
Mm-hmm.
Something Ho Chi Minh wrote a lot about is that the working class leads the people.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're petty bourgeois and you're a communist, you have to serve the proletariat and the people. Mm-hmm. The only way to serve the people is by serving the proletariat for class revolution. Mm-hmm. That's a very subtle distinction, but very important to understand.
That is why we don't have. That is why a lot of people, when when I talk about the history of Vietnam, especially in the 19th revolution, and we got support from, of course, farmers and workers, and also petty bourgeois, and even some, like the big, like landlords bourgeoisie in Vietnam at that time. And we also take them under, the consideration of, the revolution forces. But the point is that a lot of them, especially in the West, you can't understand that because until now, a lot of you still use the mindset of classes. So as long as they are the working class, they are your comrades. And if they are petty bourgeois, they try to exclude, the West right now. You've been trying to exclude like the petty bourgeois out of your movement, and a lot of you saying because they are not the working class, they are not the comrades, blah blah blah. The thing is that like you're being a pretty too in our perspective, you're being a little bit too dogmatic about this. That according to Vietnamese history, yes, there are a lot of petty bourgeois, but they also partially oppressed by the bourgeoisie, by the rich colonialist, French colonialists, and they support the cause of communism, and actually they work with communists for the revolution, and we consider them as our people. And the point is that like they do not lead and they did not lead the revolution. It's the workers and the farmers that led the revolution, and we welcome anybody that support the same cause as us. So that way you did not exclude, you know, petty bourgeois or the bourgeoisie or the landlords out our movement, as long as they support the same cause. The same thing as in the West right now, you try to just use the class characteristics to exclude the people. You don't consider like, okay, even though if they are the same working class, but they're extremely reactionary, they even fascist, they have a strong false consciousness, and you still consider them comrades. Meanwhile, people who maybe you call them petty bourgeois, but then they understand the ideology very well, they support the same cause, and you try to exclude them out of your movement because technically they're not a working class. So that is too dogmatic, in my opinion. And we as a movement, we have to welcome as many as possible the people who support our own cause, no matter what, no matter their status. The whole point that you need to have our own bars. The point that they, first of all, they support our cause or not, support our communism or not. The second call is that you need to know that they will not lead the revolution. It is us. And they must agree with that term if they want to support. And I think here's the thing, even if that person is bourgeois or petty bourgeois, as long as they understand communism, Marxism, and they support the same cause, they would know that they would not be the leader. They would agree with that. The workers and the farmers, the true working class, the progressive one with class consciousness, will have to truly lead the movement.
I think that one of the reasons that there's like a lot of, well, just the conditions in the USA, I'm talking about the USA very specifically right now. I don't know about the rest of the world, but like the petty bourgeoisie in the USA has absolutely become very ideologically indoctrinated by capitalism. And so we have like a very, very, very reactionary petty bourgeoisie by and large, which is somewhat different from the situation in Vietnam where colonialism was, and I got this from the textbook, the history textbook, like under colonialism, the petty bourgeoisie was heavily oppressed along with the working class. So there's the distinction there where I think that in Vietnam, it was more likely that you would find petty bourgeoisie people who were actually like willing to work with the communist revolution. But you know, that the point remains that even though it's harder and less likely to find petty bourgeoisie people who will join the communist revolution, it is true that they could join it, at least in theory, if they're willing to abandon the capitalist indoctrination. And the other thing is really important. This is very, very important. For a petty bourgeois person or a bourgeois person or whatever to join the communist revolution, they have to be willing to get behind the proletariat and let the proletariat lead the revolution. They can't try to come in and tell the proletariat what to do.
Exactly.
So if they can meet those two criteria, they can join the revolution.
And another thing too, and after the revolution, you know, all the bourgeoisie or petty bourgeois, they all donated their land and their wealth to the revolution and to the new government, and they became, you know, as equal as other, you know, comrades that they worked with before. So it's really much different than that. As Camarada Cauê saying, in Brazil, we have a bourgeoisie, Eduardo Moreira, who betrayed the bourgeoisie and financially supports several initiatives and comrades and declares himself a socialist. Okay, that's interesting. Checking the chat right now. A lot of chat. We have about 10 minutes left. I stumbled across this channel by accident and I am very glad I did. Thank you for this stimulating and detailed commentary. Hey, thank you so much. I am very happy that you enjoyed it. How is the progress of part 2 of basic principles? What is the progress?
I mean, the rough draft is almost done, and then we just have to finish the annotations.
Yeah,
We're hoping to get it done in 2 months. We're hoping.
Get it done in 2 months.
That's part of the reason for the hiatus.
Yes. One of the reasons for me taking a break of Mooncast live streaming because we want to focus more on finishing the second part of the book, historical materialism. All right, give me a second. I'm checking the chat right now. I do have a big plans, yes. Oh, you've read a lot of socialist and anarchist information documentation, mainly in Arabic, about the history of socialism in Arab world. Oh, what is the famous, really good writing from our comrade? Samir Amin. It's really good.
Historical materialism.
Yeah, historical materialism analysis by Samir Amin. Really good. Highly recommend.
He fixed a lot of the problems with like the Asiatic structure and crap like that.
Even in Vietnam, we like fast forward that. We didn't focus on the like fast forward. Ayo, the Machen militia said I finally finished the first chapter of our first book. Oh yeah, awesome. The first chapter is about the history of philosophy, right? Yeah. Well, Jake said I read part 1 and now my friend is reading it. Nice.
Yeah, definitely recommend you read with other people. That's good.
Yeah, recommend it because it is good to have a brainstorming with other people because like you would help each other develop and explain the concept that you don't understand or your friend don't understand, and then learning it the second time like that will make you remember it deeper. So okay, I'm just checking the chat right now and try to answer all the question if there's any in the chat and let my throat rest a little bit. I don't know about you, but did you have the same problem, EJ? After I talk for like over an hour, my throat will hurt.
I don't have that problem as bad as you. But
I
do
have a
that
terrible problem. I guess it's the shape of my throat.
Maybe.
I don't know. Because usually after my stream for 2 hours, I can just like, whisper because I cannot talk normally at all. And I don't want to do that because I don't want to stress my throat too much. I am very like overwhelmed by people who stream hours every day or they have a live concert and they sing continuously for 3-4 hours straight. It was like, holy smokes, how can they do that? Oh, it really helps with communicating. Oh, really good. Is that like the book really helps with communicating?
Yeah. For me, it changed everything about the way I think about everything. You only got a few minutes left. Maybe tell them about the mailing list one more time. Do you understand it now?
I understand it now. So
Can you put the banner
comrades,
up and-
comrades, according to the name and the thumbnail, you would know that this is the last Mooncast for a while. I am taking a break. I am going to hiatus because well, I've been doing Mooncast for like 5 years straight, and I barely take any break. I like maybe a few, like less than 5 Mooncasts that I missed. And I always try to do that, even though when I was traveling or back into my hometown or all the way outside the earth. But now finally, I it's kind of exhausting to me a little bit. And also at the same time, I want to focus my time on finishing the second book about historical materialism. So I decided to, all right, take a break for a few months to finish the book. And during that time, we might do the podcasts as of it's easier for it's just audio only, and it's like pre-recorded, so it's easier for us. And if you want to be informed if there is any podcast or new videos or the book is done, please check out this mailing list on our website. Give me a second.
You could also, if you're subscribed on Patreon or Camaraderie, we're going to start updating that more. So you don't have to join the mailing list if you.
Yeah, you
are on
already.
Patreon or Camaraderie.
Yeah, if you're already on my Patreon and Camaraderie, you don't need to do this. But if you're not, and if you want to receive my announcement when there's a podcast or new video or the book is done, please put your email in this website. We will not spam you. I swear. We swear. We hate spamming too. And if we are lucky, I might do that once a week or maybe twice a month because we're also extremely busy. So yeah, that's it. There you go. This is a mailing list. Oh, Derek, take as much time as you need to finish part 2. I still haven't had time to read part 1. LOL. Well, you have a few more months. All right, checking. Marx examined, that is true. They examined, the Native American societies as a part of his research for capital. That is true. And also at the same time, we compare that a lot to our society, the original matriarchal society. And it matched a lot with our style of living in that way because like thousands of years ago, about 4,000 years ago, Vietnam still lived as tribes. There was no money. And it was matriarchal kind of society. And also we share everything. We work together and we live in a village together and we share everything. Totally a kind of very communist way. We live communistly even before the word communism was invented. All right. The only thing that different from that society to now society is that at that time, because of the technology hasn't developed yet. So although we did mostly that's like we depend a lot. We have to depend a lot on the nature, like the weather. And we could not do much. There's no automation, no machine. We're just like doing it like in a very simple way like that. And now in a society where we already have plenty of supplies in food and clothes and housing, we definitely can live the same lifestyle without any money. And everybody can be happy like that because like everything is abundant for us right now. Like we have a lot of too much of everything actually. And yeah, just think about the clothes industry, textile industry. You don't need that much clothes. We are overdoing it, and it is the truth that we have a whole industry of outlets. It is clothes, who are like out of fashion, or like they make too much of it. And the thing is that like the workers in those factories, they will create problems so they can take it out and sell it in a cheaper price. It's called the outlets industry. I was working in an outlet store before, and I know exactly how it works. Usually the factories, they would make like too much of the same kind of clothes, or they're out of fashion, they don't want to sell it anymore. The workers in there, they will cut the tag being like in the neck of the shirt or something like that. They create a problem that doesn't matter like that, and they can take them out because the factory just dump them out as trash, or sell them with really cheap price. They import buy all of those and sell it in like many countries like Vietnam with like very half or a third of the price. And many times it's like a true though high quality brand kind of thing, but it's very cheap price. And the second evil thing is this, because the factories they want to create they fabricated the scarcity. So when they make too much of something that they want to sell at a really high price, they destroy those clothes so that they can maintain like only like a small quantity of something to sell it in really high price.
You know the ultimate solution to overproduction in capitalist societies? War. Because war solves the problem. It consumes resources, and it's like it's an infinite well you can always go to, as long as you don't value human life at all.
Yep.
Why do you think the Vietnam War really happened? I mean, they dropped more bombs on Vietnam.
They had so many bombs, so they don't know where to drop. They chose Vietnam and Laos. Actually, per capita, Laos is the most bombed country on earth. Laos is not even in the Vietnam War; they were neutral. But based on the size and the amount of bombs, they're
When
the most
pilots were
bombed.
flying over Vietnam, if they couldn't find their target or whatever, they had to drop the bomb just to be safe so they could land.
Yep.
And they would just go drop one randomly on Laos.
Yeah. It's overproduction.
And every time they drop a bomb, that's thousands
of dollars right there. All right, and also do you remember the story of farmers in the U.S. because they could not sell any milk or potato? They just bury them under the ground or just destroy them under the ground. Like the supermarket when they cannot sell enough of the agricultural products in a day, they just destroy those products instead of just giving those perfectly well and fine vegetable to hungry people on the street or donate them to like orphanage or something like that. They destroy those. They rather destroy those products than giving it for free for people who are in need, clearly can never afford that. It's sad to me. It's really sad whenever I think about it because I am a farmer. I grew up in a farm and I did farming with my parents. I know how hard it was to grow a potato, how hard it was to have a can of milk. It's just a lot of time and energy and love in it and luck too. Because if the tomato got like disease, then you're gonna lose the whole crop. It's really kind of risky to think that. So whenever kind of product that we make, we really appreciate that. So that is why like when we can't even sell them, we either sell them with really cheap price, special discount, or just donate them to orphanage, to like homeless centers to like pagoda or something like that for temples, so they can cook it for poor people, or just like leave a basket on the street so people can take it for free. Like in Japan, the same thing, where farmers they don't want to sell their products because they don't need the money, but they have more than they need. They just put a basket on the street and people just go grab them for free. But not in the USA. As soon as they cannot sell them with the price that they want, they destroy those things. Like they need to be so detached from the farming procedure to disrespect your own products like that. Because I, as a farmer, when I cannot sell my grapefruits or my rice, I rather give it to the people in the village. It's like, for example, we have a mango trees in my hometown. Like it's a huge mango tree right in the gate of our door to the house. It's massive. And of course, we cannot eat them all. It's just like me and my mom and my dad, 3 people. Cannot eat them. It's like massive, huge amount of mango. And we don't need money for that because like we fine. We don't need to sell those for money. And my parents are old. I was busy and we don't want to go to the market and sell those mangoes. Like, it's not worth it. It's very cheap anyway. So we just call literally twice a day in the morning and in the afternoon. Me and my mom just got into the top of the house and grabbed the mangoes down, and we call the people on the street passing by, the passengers on the road, say, "Hey, you want some free mango?" So like we just did that. We gave like literally like half of the village and all strangers on the street like grab some mangoes home. They all loved it. And that's it. It's just like a mango tree, but like it's a happiness in our heart that like, hey, I have a free mangoes. You want to love to have some, and then just see the smiles of the people on the street when they can have a free mango. So it's just the simple way of life like that. We don't waste. We don't throw those mangoes or bury them in the dirt. We just give them for free. It's just it's just mind blowing to me seeing the footage of the people who just waste their products like that. And it was our labor too. It was a it was a huge mango tree. We had to climb the ladder to the top, the roof of our house, and then a long stick from the roof to grab the mangoes home. It's not easy, but we did it because like, hey, it's great seeing my mangoes not being wasted. Yeah, and we left some for the birds too. The birds love the mangoes. So yeah, plenty of food for birds. All right, we're over time right now. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. Hey, yeah, that's a donation from Derek. The message says, I hope you and EJ enjoy your break, and I look forward to both parts of the textbook and your return. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, and yeah, we will try our best. Right after this, we finish our packaging and start going. And yep, yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all your support. The donation and super chats, which goes a long way, especially in Vietnam. And hope you all have a good time together. Communism will win, and hopefully, strongly believe that we will have a movement worldwide very soon, and there will be a socialist democracy all across the globe. All right. So when will you be back? When will I be back? Maybe the soonest will be in 2 months. That's the soonest. It could be 3 or 4, but yeah, that's what we plan for at least 2 months. So, all right. See you next time. See you in a while. Bye.